All right, Stevie, let's get back into some of the Arsenal situation this past weekend. David Raya gets the start. They win the game, and that's the most important part. They walk away 3 points, but Raya starts in goal over Aaron Ramsdale. We'll know in probably about 2 hours who's actually starting this Champions League game as they take on Eindhoven. He had a lot to say, Arteta did, about why he made this decision, and went back to last year and basically said if I had the guts, I would have changed goalies mid-game, which literally has never happened outside of like penalty shootout situations and cup competitions and tournaments. What do you make of this? Is this unnecessary, or is this his first step into making Raya the number one keeper? Like, why do this, and how does this play in the locker room?
Well, this situation 100% is going to test his man management skills. Because if I'm Aaron Ramsdale, I've had a good season, we're challenging for the Premier League, I'm clearly the number one goalie, and all of a sudden there's a spanner thrown in the works by Arteta signing Raya, and then not coming out and saying I'm his number one. So Arteta and Ramsdale have to have had conversations about this, because Aaron Ramsdale, no question, at the start of the season will be thinking, what's going to happen here? And the only way he's not thinking that is if Arteta has sat him down and explained the whole thing to him. And if Arteta can get these two goalkeepers to understand that they're both going to be playing, then it'll somewhat work. But if he has just thrown them to the lions and said, okay, best man wins, then you're going to create turmoil in their heads. So he has to have sat them down and explained what he's thinking. I mean, again, the nonsense about substituting a goal in the 85th minute or something, I don't get that at all. You're asking for trouble. There are so many, you're affecting all kinds of stuff. You're affecting the back four. Why would you affect the back four and the goalkeeper? I mean, it makes no sense to me. The fact is, he's got two great goalkeepers, and if he decides to do it and do something crazy like that, he might get away with it because they're good goalkeepers. But I just don't see how. I don't see how it actually works. I think the theory's great. The theory's fantastic, but theory is one thing, and practical and actual are a completely different other thing. So, listen, I expect Ramsdale to start. I expect these two to be flip-flopping. I don't think that's a good idea. I wouldn't do it as a coach. I would have a number one, and I'd have a guy backing him up and keeping him on his toes. But Arteta's a different animal to most coaches and most managers. And he's going to do it the way he sees fit, the way he thinks is the right way to do it. Just unfortunately right now, he's kind of on an island, because I haven't heard anybody else on the planet who thinks this is a good idea.
Yeah, this is from American sports perspective. We always say, from a quarterback in American football, if you have two quarterbacks, you have no quarterback. Like, that's not a good thing. You got to have one guy. You got to have the guy. We've never really seen this. Have you seen this work on any level where you're actually flip-flopping goalies?
No. I can only go back to before I played. Before, I'm saying, when England had two world-class goalies, a guy called Peter Shilton and a guy called Ray Clemens. And they both ended up with 60-odd, 70-odd caps each, because they just kept flip-flopping. Now, when you've got two world-class goalies, you can get away with it. But at the same time, you're now affecting your back four. You're certainly affecting your two centre-backs, because now they're playing one game with one goalie, and then when the other goalie comes in, you've got to adjust to what he prefers, what his best qualities are. So I don't think it doesn't settle any team when you're constantly making changes, regardless of the position. But certainly, if you're flip-flopping goalkeepers, I think that's way bigger than what happens with outfield players.
Yeah, he tried to liken it to outfield players, but I think that's a force that nobody really agrees with. As you said, he's on an island right now, and he's done this in arguably the biggest week of their season. They haven't been in Champions League in 6 years. So you're going to come back to the Champions League with Eindhoven midweek. You have the North London derby coming up at the weekend. And don't forget, folks, on October 8th, which is a couple weeks away, they play City. So like this is like a huge part of the season right now where this is coming up. And needless to say, at a very interesting time. We'll see what happens when they play Eindhoven in a little bit.
Do you know? And again, when you said this, the playing City soon, there's no question that whoever plays against City, the other one's going to be thinking, well, he's picked him for this game, so that means
He's the
he
guy.
must think he's the best. I mean, you're just causing confusion and angst to something that you don't need. Again, just another reason why I don't think it works.